Hello and welcome back to my channel. Unless you don't listen to music, you probably use Spotify, which, for those of you who don't know, is a huge streaming platform, primarily for audio content like music and podcasts. And Spotify has some really great AI behind it that recommends music to you based on your activity on the platform. I know I've discovered a lot of new artists and music that I like just through the Discover Weekly playlist that they make for me every week, as well as through the playlist continuation recommendations that they make. You know, when you make a playlist and you scroll all the way to the bottom and you scroll past your playlist, there's always a list of songs that they recommend you add to that playlist based off of whatever you've put in that playlist. And even if you don't add any of those songs to your playlist, Spotify will just play those songs after it's played the entirety of your playlist. So if you're anything like me, you want to know how it works. I mean, there's so much music out there. How does Spotify know what songs to recommend to you next? A lot of platforms have these recommendation systems or recommender systems behind them to engage their customers more or get their customers to spend more time on their platform or spend more money or both. And let's be honest, a lot of these recommender systems are doing a lot of the hard work for us these days. On YouTube, I know when I look at my recommended videos, half of them I actually do want to watch. And on Amazon, the product recommendations I also feel can be really valuable sometimes. A recommender system, broadly, is a system or algorithm that tries to predict how you would respond to different things, and then it tries to present you with whatever it thinks that you would respond most favorably to. Some engineers at Spotify even wrote a paper discussing their recommender system, and it doesn't give away their entire strategy. Like, they don't tell you what features they use to describe users or songs. Like, it doesn't go super low level, but it does go into quite a bit of detail describing their algorithm and the conclusions that they drew and how those things motivated the design of their platform. And I thought it was really insightful. Of course, I'll leave links to everything that I reference in this video down below. But basically, Spotify's motivation behind their recommender system, like the ideas they kept in mind while they were designing their platform, were: one, they don't want to just recommend all the popular songs. If they were blindly training a model to maximize the likelihood that you would like their recommended songs, then it would make sense if they just recommended all of the popular songs to you, because if everybody else likes these songs, then chances are pretty good that you would also like them too. But Spotify wanted to build into their recommender system a way to recommend songs to you that are less popular and give you a sense that you're really exploring new stuff, new content, songs that may not be necessarily the most popular, but could potentially be very relevant to your tastes. So that's one. They didn't want to build a model that would just recommend all of the popular songs to you. And the second motivation is they wanted people to understand on some level why certain songs were getting recommended to them. And these recommendations with explanations they call rexplanations. So when you're using Spotify, you may see phrases like based on what's in this playlist or based on your recent listening. That's Spotify telling you exactly why certain songs are getting recommended to you. In their paper, they were able to show that user engagement does depend a lot on the explanations that are given for recommendations. So when you're on their platform, the way that you engage with the content is different if you see a playlist that says, this is recommended because it's popular, or this is recommended because you like a certain genre, or it's a certain day of the week, or simply it's just similar to what you've been listening to. Basically, explanations do matter. Now, as I mentioned, the paper doesn't discuss a lot about how they collect data on you or how they compute data on different artists or tracks. But by doing a bit of research, I found that there is some information floating around about the kind of data that they gather and compute. For instance, they do a lot of audio analysis to try to understand what aspects of different tracks make them distinctly enjoyable to listen to. They definitely feed all of their audio data, or the songs, into computers, which can quickly pick them apart and tell you a lot of information about them, like whether they contain certain instruments or have certain beats, or even what genre they fall into. So because Spotify is able to analyze all of their music in this automated way, they can group songs together that have similar features, which is why in your Discover Weekly playlist, you might see some pretty obscure stuff. I know for me, my Discover Weekly playlist rarely has a song that I've heard before, and over half of the artists I have never even heard of. So, listening to that playlist really does give me the sense that I'm discovering new music. Their understanding of audio features also plays a huge role in how they recommend tracks for you to add to particular playlists. So, if you've manually added songs to a playlist yourself, Spotify can automatically find similar songs that have similar relevant audio features. In terms of data that Spotify collects on us, its users, they know, of course, data that we choose to report, gender, age, but it also tracks all of your activity on the platform. They know when you listen to certain tracks. They know how many times you listen to different tracks. They know how long you listen to different tracks. They gather so much data on you to be able to plot you as a data point in their system of users. So they can also see other users that might have similar listening patterns. And that also helps them recommend songs to you that you may actually want to listen to and enjoy listening to. Now, I love Spotify, and for my listening habits, it's perfectly sufficient. But I think it would be really cool if Spotify somehow, I guess, gave us the knobs to control the algorithm a little bit more precisely. For instance, on Spotify, I have a playlist for 2021 where I just put in all of the songs basically I've been listening to this year and that I want to continue listening to. And I tend to overplay songs until the point where I start to get tired of hearing it. And so every year I make a new playlist. And if there's a song that I, haven't gotten tired of listening to yet and I still really like, I'll carry it over to the next year. But in this playlist, there are also a lot of like really random songs that aren't necessarily my style of music or songs that aren't really in a genre that I'm particularly fond of. But, this one song I just really like. I think it'd be really cool if you could tell Spotify, like, in this playlist, this is not a song that I want you to use in trying to understand who I am or what I like to listen to. Like, this is not representative of the type of recommendations that I want to get. So please do not pass it into the algorithm when you're trying to decide what to recommend to me. I think that'd be really cool to give us, the users, just a little bit more control. And like for a lot of people, it would help them understand what's going on a little bit more behind the scenes. I mean, the system would still be a black box to pretty much everybody, but at least we would all know that this box exists. I know on YouTube, on the videos that they recommend to you on your homepage, they give you the options like not interested or don't recommend this channel. But I think YouTube could also be a little bit more transparent in the way that they recommend things to you. Like, they could say, because you're subscribed to this channel, we're recommending these videos, or because of your recent viewing history, we're recommending these videos. Instead of just giving this huge page of recommended videos, they could break it down a little bit more, and I think users would really appreciate the recommendations if they came with explanations. I think the algorithms behind all of the stuff that we use are really interesting, and there's so much behind Spotify's algorithm that, of course, we don't know, and there's a lot of detail in that paper that I didn't discuss here. So if you're interested to learn more, I will leave a link to that paper as well as to all of the resources that I used in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you would hit the like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and making it to this point in the video if you have, and I will see you in the next video.
Oh boy.